You're listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by the National Association of Convenience Stores.
And welcome to Convenience Matters. This is Jeff Leonard with the National Association of Convenience Stores, and I'm joined by my co-host.
I'm John Eichberg with the Fuels Institute and NACS, and we are here to talk about everything that fuels you, whether it fuels your body or your car. Convenience stores 24/7, we're the place you go.
And on Convenience Matters, we, of course, talk about things that matter to convenience stores. And if they matter to convenience stores, they probably matter to you because we get about half of the U.S. population in stores every day. If you talk about, John, one thing we are known for more than anything else is that we are involved in communities and we're family businesses. And today, I think we can have a great conversation with our two guests.
Absolutely. I think convenience stores are kind of synonymous with community. We are in every single community in the country, and the majority of the industry is run by companies that have 10 or fewer stores. And we got Jared and DeAnn Scheeler here with us. We're going to talk about a little bit about what's going on in your business. You guys recently relocated back to your home state of North Dakota, start up a brand new company. Share with us a little bit what went into the decision to go back home, to start up a brand new company, and what motivated you to do that?
Well, first of all, John and Jeff, thanks for having us today. It's exciting to be here in Washington, D.C. But a little background on what went into our decision to move back home to North Dakota after establishing a life and establishing a family and establishing strong business careers in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul after 15 years. Our children started to get a little bit older. DeAnn was growing in her job. I was growing in this industry, the convenience industry. And, it got to the point where a bunch of everything came to a head. And our children were getting older. Both of our parents and our family members, our extended family, are getting older. And most of them reside in our hometown of Dickinson, North Dakota. And as our children got older, so they need to be around family more. They haven't been around family enough. We could expose them a little bit more. So those discussions started probably 4 or 5 years ago, just very softly. And then all of a sudden, we started talking about business and our careers and where might that go. Should we go to North Dakota, and what opportunities may be available for us? So long story short, one thing led to another, and I believe that both of our strong desire to move came to fruition because of many things coming together.
And so, DeAnn, as a family business, it's different than how a lot of people have jobs. Most people have 9-to-5 jobs. They go home. How was work today, honey? Fine. How was your day? Fine. And that's the end of the conversation. You have it where do you disassociate business at some point, or is it always in conversations?
Well, I think it's not always in conversations, but it's definitely always in the background at least. I mean, we both are very geared toward business and have an entrepreneurial spirit, especially Jared. So, we go through all of this together. I do a lot of human resources and marketing assistance to the hub, and so those things just kind of overlap quite a bit.
So I think it's a dream for people, a lot of people, to be able to go home and to be able to go home and start something new. So as you guys started kind of putting together the idea, you're going to open up a convenience store company in your hometown. What's your vision? When you guys started thinking about it, obviously you have an idea of where you think it can go. What is your primary vision, and what do you hope to accomplish in the next 10, 15 years?
Well, I was fortunate to be a part of a very good company in Minneapolis called Bobby and Steve's Auto World. Came up, started out as a cashier in that business as a part-time job during college. Ended up making a career out of it. I didn't go to business school to work at gas stations or convenience stores all my life, but fell in love with the industry, grew within that company, learned a lot about people, learned a lot about leadership, learned a lot about being a leader in the industry, about being cutting edge, about coming up with innovative ideas, thinking ahead of our times per se. So that afforded me a lot of experience to be able to formulate the vision for the hub convenience stores. And I didn't know a lot about the convenience industry in my native North Dakota going back. I mean, we had been gone for 15 years, and this industry has evolved immensely over the past decade. And you could say probably that it may be a little bit lagging behind in North Dakota. So a lot of the modern futuristic things that we were doing in the Twin Cities probably don't apply quite yet in Western North Dakota. But being the fact that I had done a lot of the things that we're doing now, it made it relatively easy to create that vision. And that vision is to really elevate the expectation of a convenience store in Western North Dakota. From the old, maybe the negative stereotypes that some apply to our industry, to help people understand that this industry is great, it's modern, it's growing, it's evolving. We have fresh foods, we have beautiful restrooms, and the experience that you may be expected at a convenience store before is not what you're going to get in the future. And we're hoping to be the leaders in Western North Dakota.
When you start a family business, a new business, somewhere along the way you have to say, okay, we have this concept, we want to be part of the community, we are going back home again, we're going to have these products, we're going to have a focus on this, and then you say, we need a name. Let's start with you, DeAnn. What was the process? And was there a point where you both said, we got it?
Well, there was a long list of names and ideas that we went through. And there's a couple other partners that are involved as well at the Hub. And so we kind of narrowed down our list to what we thought was going to be the best, and then ended up showing it to them. And the Hub clearly ended up being the one of choice, and the one that everybody agreed on very quickly. So it actually was pretty easy once we started the process.
Yeah, and I keep up with the trade journals. I read NACS magazine on a monthly basis, and when there's new retailers featured, and there would be a good name, I'd be like, son of a gun. They came up with a good name. Cross that one off the list.
It's like George Costanza was 7, named for his daughter that he wanted.
And then Erica Badu named her kid 7, and apparently Jason Alexander actually expressed fake outrage over it. The Hub is really a great name, and that's why I asked that question, because convenience stores, there was an article in NACS magazine several years ago talking about the very point of convenience store names, and it said that to a certain extent, naming it after a family member can work, but if you don't have that last name, you may not have that same connection. If you use a name that conveys speedy, fast, etc., well, to a certain extent, that's implied now in the convenience store offer. It's not going to be slowy, misspelled, or something like that. So when you look at what the offer is now, it is about community, it is about Hub, it is about being that place, that third place that Starbucks talks about, for instance. So I think the name is very clever, and have the customers latched onto that as a name that fits with their lifestyles?
I think so, and it's been really easy for us to kind of use that from a marketing standpoint to talk about, the different types of offerings that we have in our stores, and how it is sort of a hub for people to stop in and grab the multiple different products that we offer. Plus, even for our family, we're up there a fair amount of time, or in the stores. So I think it's translated very nicely into the business practices.
One thing, Jeff, that really surprised me was the fact, in our name, the Hub in and of itself is rather ambiguous. What does that mean? So when we first opened, I would tell everybody it's the Hub Convenience Stores. You have to say the Hub Convenience Stores. You answer the phone, you say the Hub Convenience Stores. And I stressed that over and over and over again, because I figured it would take some time for just the Hub by itself to get some traction. However, it's been the opposite. People call us the Hub. Everybody knows what the Hub is, where the Hub is, and that's a good thing. I think that says a lot about what we do and what we offer. We do want to be the hub of not just a lot of great food offerings within our community, but we want to be a hub of energy, of great service, and just to be a great business.
Of course, anybody in the Boston area, when you say the Hub, it refers to Boston, and the second part of that is of the universe. So there's an inflated sense and maybe a misunderstanding of astronomy and all that, but it is glad you didn't open that in New England. They'd have some,
right.
They'd take some issue.
So let's shift gears a little bit, because we're sitting here on Capitol Hill today talking to you. You guys have a small company, let's still classify as a startup, I would, because it's only a couple years old. how in the world are you able to justify coming to Washington, D.C. for 4 or 5 days to talk to legislators when you're running a business that's really just getting off the ground?
Well, there's a lot going on in our day-to-day business, no question. And it can be challenging to break away, especially being a startup, as you referenced. However, the issues that our industry faces on a day-to-day basis, on a year-to-year basis, both on the local level and at the federal level, have such a great impact on what we can and can't do as a business. And as a business leader, I believe that I have a responsibility above and beyond what I do in our businesses on a day-to-day basis. I have a responsibility. If I have the ability to do it, I have a responsibility to represent the industry, represent our state, and represent our company and our family here in Washington, D.C. to talk to our legislators about the issues that do really affect our business.
I think that's something a lot of people struggle with is we are predominantly a small business industry, but the more people that step up to make their voices heard, the more effect we have on the legislative process. And we were speaking with NAC Treasurer Peter Tedeschi previously, and he was saying the biggest threat to the industry is those factors that you cannot control. And that you can deal with a competitor. You can design a business plan to compete. It's when that government comes in and imposes structures on you that make it almost impossible for you to compete, that you run into challenges. So I really take my hat off to you guys. I've been in the political world for a long time. To be able to take time away to invest in this effort to talk to your legislators is a huge undertaking, but it's something I think you're right. I think it's absolutely critical, both at the federal and local level. If you're involved at the local level, you have an even bigger opportunity to make an impact on what's going on in your market.
It is. It's empowering and encouraging to come here to events like this and see so many others, like-minded individuals within the industry, wanting to take that same leadership, knowing that the power that we have when we put our voice together, the difference that we can make.
In NACS and the Fuels Institute, we survey people every month. We ask about gas prices and issues related to that. And a couple months ago, we asked this question every year, are low gas prices good or bad for the U.S. economy? And still 9 out of 10 say it's good for the economy because it's good for them. It means lower gas prices. But I think as we go along with period of lower petroleum, I think people are starting to see that it's not necessarily uniform across the board that low oil prices are benefiting all Americans. And you're in an area that's a classic example of that. It's highly dependent upon oil exploration, and with lower oil prices, there's some wells getting shut down, and some of the area is facing some challenges. Are you talking to Congress about that? Not necessarily anything that's price related, but here is what is happening in our market because of that.
Well, I think they have a great understanding of, number one, the immense amount of growth that our state saw during the oil boom, and then on the flip side, what the last 6 months has looked like as far as people really fleeing the state. And he referenced the number of wells. It used to be up to 210 wells drilling at one time, and now we're in the range of 40 and falling. So it's made a huge difference. And we'd be lying if we didn't say that was one of the reasons that we moved back as well. It was economically, it was a good time to, we thought it was a good time to open a business. But we're still very, very, our outlook is positive. Oil's still in the ground. But to your point, we do need a higher barrel price for activity to pick up. We have this great resource right here in the United States, in the state of North Dakota, available to us. But economically, it's got to be at the right price. And is 50 that price? I don't know. I hope. But 60 is probably the better number.
And with you, it's your relationship with wells is not the wells itself, but the people who are employed and how much money they have in their pocket. Are they feeling good economically? And that will they spend money, or will they even be there to be customers? So how do you have any unique marketing challenges or opportunities that made you look at businesses differently? I remember you had mentioned Bobby and Steve's earlier, and you had some fun things that you played around with. I remember the day I went, there was something where you went on the intercom and said, okay, you do a cartwheel before you pump gas. we'll knock a couple cents off your gas, or you sing a song. Or,
we didn't even have them sign a waiver before they did those cartwheels either.
it wasn't before pumping the gas, and there were other things I've really remembered so many years later about sending birthday cards to people on their birthdays, hand signed, not something that has a corporate stamp. Are you using some of those tools at the hub, particularly if it's more challenging with the environment?
Well, I can speak a little bit to that. We're both very involved. Because it's our hometown, obviously it makes it a little bit easier, but both of us are very involved in our community, in different clubs and groups and things. And Jared has had a lot of interaction with our high schools. He does some coaching and some different volunteer aspects where we've had a really good recruiting pool, actually, for employees. And in doing so, we have really been able to reach out to the community and get, families and parents coming in to the hub because their children are working there, and we're really diverse, I guess, in who we employ. So that's been a big advantage because we know so many people and our families are there, and then as well as what Jared's been doing, and myself as well with different community involvement.
One of the things I find most exciting about startups and smaller companies is your flexibility, your ability to be nimble, to take chances, to try new stuff that larger, more bureaucratic companies just could never take advantage of. What things are you guys seeing or trying that excite you the most?
I'd say first and foremost, when we opened the hub, we had a well-planned out food service program, but in a new region, in a new market, you just never know what's going to stick. So we were able to quickly adapt what was working, what wasn't, throw in a few new ideas, and implement them quickly, which is so nice. When you're making your own decisions, you can speak directly with the suppliers, and you can make quick decisions and implement them as quickly as you want to. So we've been able to do that, and I tell you, it's a great thing to be able to do that on a startup, to have make your own calls on a day-to-day basis, and figure out what works and do it the right way.
And now summer's coming, the thaw. I know that going from Minnesota to North Dakota, not exactly to warmer climes. So I know that for convenience stores in particular, when the weather heats up, there's more hours in the day. You see people traveling more. And I assume that with vacationers, you're going to see a whole lot more business this upcoming spring. Any items that you target in particular as we go through the spring and summer?
Well, one benefit that we have at our new flagship is that we are on the main corridor to North Dakota's Lake Sakakawea, which it's a very, very large man-made reservoir of the Missouri River that covers square miles upon square miles. It's probably the lake itself is probably 100 miles long and up to 8 miles wide in certain spots. So it's a lot of cabins, a lot of campers, a lot of fishermen, and like I said, we're on that main corridor. So we're going to implement some bait, probably in about 2 weeks here, as soon as fishing season gets really underway. We've been heavy on the camping supplies. We actually have an RV dump site at our store. So I'm excited to see how that goes. All the standard food service items that we have. We sell a ton of beverages, both dispensed and packaged. But I'm excited for that bait because it does add an element that we didn't have last year.
Well, guys, I appreciate you spending this time with us, Jared and DeAnn. It's exciting to hear a new company getting started and what you guys are experiencing, the opportunities you have, and the fact that you'll take the time to come to D.C. to join NACS on Day on the Hill is fantastic. So thank you guys so much for joining us on Convenience Matters.
Thanks, John.
You've been listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by NACS. For more information about the National Association of Convenience Stores, go to nacsonline.com.